She's already there. Yes. Don't put the sound here. Can it be connected with the YouTube?
Yes.
Oh, you have to show Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Siva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Sound from the website.
Rama
Let me call it. It's sound from Facebook. We have Facebook open.
Hare Krishna
Yes, Facebook is online.
Krishna Krishna
Now we can close
Hare
this.
Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Ora Brahmanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jayam Vishwapram Suryabrajacharya Ashtadala Sadasi Simatsila Abhay Charnar Binda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrajacharya Ashtadala Sadasi Simatsila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. अनंत गुरी वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नमाचार्य शिलवरदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय, मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, आलाचुर रमणीति धाम की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताय कृष्ण बलराम राधा वृंदावन चंद्र की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताय कृष्ण बलराम राधा श्याम सुंदर जी की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। स्वामीपत वैष्णव वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Thank you for all coming. Please fold your hand and let's evoke the mercy of Lord Vasudev. Why we say Vasudev? Why not Krishnaya? Because he is the Lord of consciousness. Our whole journey is depending on purifying our consciousness. Krishna is already here in our heart. Krishna is here in the every page of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is also in the altar. Krishna is also in the name. And then we are also here. So what is the connection making it difficult? Because consciousness is dirty. Consciousness, our awareness of Krishna's glory is not there. So we evoke the mercy of Lord Vasudeva, who is the predominating deity of consciousness. Chapter 4, Adi Lila. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. So please fold your hand and pray to Lord Vasudeva. Lord Vasudeva, you can meditate the form of Krishna in Kurukshetra, who spoke Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna in Vrindavan, in the cow barn, where Gargacharya gave the name Vasudeva. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayesu Avadresu Nitam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. So today will be
Excuse me, Prabhu, can we turn the volume up, please? It was very loud and then it decreased.
Where do you control the volume? Here. Is decrease? Is it better now?
A little bit, can it go louder? It was much louder when you were playing kirtan.
Oh, really?
That's not a mic's volume.
Oh, what is it?
The setup of the mic.
You can try. First question is that we create a question on few verses, and next week will be our final part of the third chapter. So we are going to start from 34, 35, 36, all the way 37, and then we'll hold onto this for next week. Question is, the illusion or Maya means dislocation. Everybody understand the word dislocation is disrupt, which is unhealthy. What is the proper adjustment that is necessary so we can relocate to a healthy position? Everybody has the Bhagavad Gita, right? Good. So, ignorance is not an accidental. This is my beginning understanding. I hope everybody understand this. This ignorance that we have in our life or we go through is not an accidental. It is earned by our previous action. Man is the architect of his own fortune. Everybody understood that point? So ignorance means whatever, if you say, well, I didn't know, or Hare Krishna. I have ignorance, or I was born not in a Vedic culture. So many excuses you can say. But our point is that whatever excuse you have, don't take it as an excuse. Don't say I was born in Russia or in a tribe family or in some places that they never heard of Krishna. So it's all like, yes, those are there, but ignorance is not accidental. Just try to grasp it. Because don't complain about the environment, against the environment. Why? Because whatever environment, whatever situation you are in, it's the result of your previous action. You follow? A good example, weather is horrible. Just imagine, it's not horrible, it's good. But if it is horrible, why you are here? Why some people in a good weather and you are here? Why? Because it is your destiny that you choose last life, whether you knew or not, it doesn't matter. If I know fire will burn or I don't know, will fire think like that? Oh, Pran Govinda Das didn't know the fire. Okay, I won't burn you. No, it won't happen. It will burn. So my point is, ignorance is not an excuse or accidental. Everybody understand that point? Okay. So the anomaly I'm facing at the present time is the product of my own action. No one else to be blamed, whatever situation we are put into or going through. If actually every devotee, every human being would accept that, they could progress very quick. So what should we do? Well, don't blame anyone, but from another point of view to look at it, that every situation, maybe you can find somebody who is advanced in Krishna consciousness to translate you, the situation you are in, into favorable to bhakti. Every situation, I may not be expert to see the positivity here. I'm going through such a nightmare. I remember one time I felt like I got stuck. There's no progress. I remember. And Jayadvaita Maharaj did a wonderful, I mentioned that, he did a wonderful thing. He gave me a big hug and he said, everything is temporary. Just keep on chanting. It will change. And it did change. In few years change. I could not see that. So, but I could not see on my own, but he could see. I trusted his word and I see it, it worked. So same thing, I was looking at Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur commentary, Baladev Vidyabhushan Thakur commentary on text 34, 3.34, we are going to read now. So my point is that whatever favorable or unfavorable environment you are in, you have to go through that experience. And it is not created or accidental. It is created by you. Previous life, you don't remember. So that is necessary. It is like a one who is more advanced devotee, they can come in our life and help us to see whatever situation we are in, that actually you can turn the unfavorable into the most favorable. Because intensity to come too close to God does not come normally. When you really need help, that time your prayers is very intense. I hope you experience what I'm talking about. Like when you are in trouble, your seeking help is desperate. When you don't have a trouble, it's okay. Hare Krishna, thank you, Krishna. But not so much feeling. I'm not saying that's the reason we should be in suffering. No, that's not my point. My point is in every situation, we can translate, translation. You translate how it is actually the most favorable right now. Another point also to look at it, God or Krishna is not vindictive, is not vengeful. You know the word vindictive. Like, I told you to do it, you didn't do it, now you suffer. Not like this. Krishna is never like this. That we don't listen to him, so we're going to just neglect and no. This is a one thing last week I mentioned. I hope everybody understand this. In the battlefield, against the Pandavas were Kauravas. And the Kauravas, among the Kauravas, against the Pandavas, were who? Bhishmadev, Duryodhan, all of them, yes? What is the difference between Bhishmadev and the rest of the Kauravas? They are all in one party. Anybody remembers this? Last week we discussed that against the Pandava, against Krishna, who was there on the Kaurava side? Duryodhan, Bhishmadev was the leader. Everybody remembers that? Last week we discussed. Now, what was the difference between Duryodhan and Bhishmadev? There's a common thing. Common thing was they were against Krishna, they were against the Pandavas. Okay, that's the common thing. But what was the speciality in Bhishmadev? We can learn. What is speciality in Duryodhan? Also we can learn to avoid. What was it? Resentment. Resentful. Bhishmadev never ever accused Krishna for his trouble, even though he knows Krishna is the cause of all. Bhishmadev knew the philosophy very well. He knew Krishna is the only cause of this fight. I'm getting arrow in my body because of Krishna. Without Krishna, nothing is sanctioned. Everybody understand that. But what did Bhishmadev do? He saw Krishna three ways. One was, instead of accusing Krishna, he saw cure in Krishna, like a medicine. Krishna can actually help me and cure me. Whatever struggle we go through, here Arjuna is struggling, so there's discussion taking place. But bringing the reference on the text 34, Krishna is giving a hint. Don't maintain resentful against God, against me. Then you get no opportunity to come up or come out of trouble. Duryodhan maintained resentment, so much hate. As a result, he was doomed. There was nothing gained. Bhishmadev was also against Pandava and Krishna, but yet no resentment. That's one thing. Found Krishna as a cure. Whatever struggle we go through, always see Krishna as a helper. The grace is coming. Grace is coming for what? To help us. But 911 is there in America if we need help. Yes? You have a cell phone. Is 911 going to come without you dial the cell phone? No. They have no clue. But of course, Krishna is not like that. Krishna knows everything. But still, Krishna wants each of us to pray to him, to come back to him. Each of us, Krishna wants us to see, to express our feeling that we really miss him, we want to come in, genuine feeling. Then Krishna will make the journey easy. Everybody understood that point? Doesn't matter whatever situation you are in, never maintain resentment against God, because you lose the connection of his help. So everything is a part and parcel of the original. Therefore, Krishna is manifested in everything. And it is not that we can sacrifice or negate everything and only God remains. Otherwise, why we are here? Ask that question yourself. Because our individuality and existence is real. So both sides must have some recognition. Why did Krishna appear in a holy name? Why did Krishna come as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Why did the Hare Krishna movement started? It's a grace. Krishna is constantly trying to take you back home. Like Prabhupada asked a question. Guru comes from the spiritual world to take you back home. That is Guru's job. What is the disciple job? What is your job? What do you think? Guru has come to take you home. What are you supposed to do?
What do you tell you to do?
Little more. That's true, but little more. You have to hit the 100 mark.
Follow Guru. Follow.
That's also good, but little more. Little more. These are all good points.
Surrender.
Little more. Imbibe with the mood he has. He came to take me home. I'm also ready to go. He wants to take me, but if I'm practicing, but he wants to take you. Okay, good idea. I'll practice. No, but that's not what the ultimate is. He came to take me. I should be ready also to go with him. Follow? That is required. We should always think, I want to serve Krishna. I want to serve Krishna. That should be our main motto. Whatever happen in life, whether we are chanting or business or whatever, but we should always think like how I want to serve. I'm serving him, how I'm serving him. This clue has to be always within us. Even you have a stock market, like Mr. Kumar has stock market, but he's thinking that this is for Krishna. For Krishna's pleasure, I'm doing. Connect with Krishna, everything. Otherwise, it will be difficult. So back to this, dislocation is unhealthy. Proper adjustment is necessary. Maya, misconception. You know the word Maya? Maya means? Miyate anaya iti. Whatever you think you can figure it out. How do I go back home? Don't figure it out. There's Maya also. Just depend on him. Surrender means dependence. You see a child, he has a child. When he has a problem or anything, he comes to his dad. This is called dependence. Surrender means not only just working for Krishna, also depend on him. Dependence, like a child depend on mother, like that. So misconception means dislocation. We feel like, builder, I'm not feeling well. Where is this idea coming from? Maya. This is what Maya is. So you have to switch. Krishna is not going to shift your consciousness from Maya to him. Everybody understand that point? Krishna is not going to do for you. You have to do it, but he is there to help you. That's all. Okay, we are going to start 34. Let's read sloka together. Everybody has 3.34. Together. Indriyasharthe raga desa vyavastito Tayorna vasam agachet tohi asa paripantino. Can somebody read that? Mother Gaurangi, would you like to read the translation?
There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects.
Wait, it's a 34? Okay, I have a different translation. Okay, go ahead, it's okay.
One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization.
Yes, so attraction and repulsion for sense of the felt by embodied beings. Okay, good. Go ahead.
Those who are in Krishna consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage in material sense gratification. But those who are not in such consciousness should follow the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures. Unrestricted sense enjoyment is the cause of material engagement, but one who follows the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures does not become entangled by the sense objects. For example, sex enjoyment is a necessity for the conditioned soul, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties. According to scriptural injunctions, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationships with any woman other than one's wife. All other women are to be considered as one's mother. But in spite of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have sex relationships with other women. These propensities are to be curbed, otherwise they will be stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. As long as the material body is there, the necessities of the material body are allowed, but under rules and regulations. And yet, we should not rely upon the control of such allowances. One has to follow those rules and regulations unattached to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulations may also lead one to go astray, as much as there is always a chance of an accident, even on the royal roads. Although they may be very carefully maintained, no one can guarantee there will be no danger, even on the safest road. The sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very long time, owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means, but attachment to Krishna consciousness, or acting always in the loving service of Krishna, detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. Therefore, no one should try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage of life. The whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense attachment is ultimately to become situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness.
Okay. This is very nice. Now we put a question, how do we understand that non-Krishna conscious relationship and feeling are actually damaging us? How can we break out of that and focus on Krishna Bhakti? So my way of understanding from this one, something relevant in our life, because it happened in my life also, I can see it, that's why. Sometimes we have to translate in our own way of thinking. Have you ever experienced that your material, positive investment and negative investment? Positive investment is like, you just love that person you met. He or she is so wonderful, so nice. And then you thinking and dragging your whole day, like thinking about almost like every few hours, oh, that was so nice. I want to text her or him. How are you doing? Everything was so nice. It was so nice. Like eventually you get like so much time invested. You're not thinking that this is temptation. You know why I said this? Just the opposite to that. If somebody is mean to you somewhere, I can't believe he just cut me off. I'm going to speed up, and I hope nobody does, but they do in this world. And it's like, and it bothers for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. I could not believe this. I was trying to go a little faster and this guy just cut me off or whatever. And it's like, what am I saying? It's an investment of our emotion negatively or positively, either attachment or negative investment means hate it. Why this happened? Why this person did it? What is the wrong in this picture Krishna is saying? Krishna is saying you don't have a time to think of me. You just so much thinking of the person you are attached or the person you hate. Where is your time for thinking of Krishna? You understand? That's how Maya just steals our emotional feeling. I was there in the temple, everything is nice, but this person was just saying something so mean. And it like a drag, might disturb my mind. And it goes on for like an hour. You're going to sleep, you can't sleep because the person says something. Arey Baba, problem is that Maya just stealing your feeling away from Krishna. Everybody understand, or you never heard these things happen to you? That people really affect us, either positively or negatively. Either we love that person or something that person did, we hate it. But both way, our emotional investment is there. And Krishna is saying, you don't have a time to think of me because you're thinking of that person who did not like you or cut you off or whatever, boss was angry, whatever. Some way or other, it is happening every day to everyone. People say they don't have a time to think of Krishna. It's not that they don't have time. They just don't know that how their actually emotional investment is like pulled out. So these words is wonderful. What should we do? So we should remember this. Anything that keeps us away from Krishna thought, it's a temptation. But Prabhu, that devotee was so mean, was not necessary. I understand. You're just emotion and attention stolen away by that person. Or there is a good news. I don't have any more disease. It's got cured. I had some infection. I got better. Wow, now I feel very good. Maybe I'll sit in a couch and watch a movie or something like that, a couple hours. It just it stole. But when I had the sickness, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Because I'm sick, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So I'm trying to give a drawing like how we should see that these are nothing but temptation.
Excuse me, Prabhu Govinda? Pardon. The volume on the Zoom is not happening. I have left and come back. I just wanted to let you know for recording purposes. Haribo, I will watch on Facebook.
Kushan means Krishna and Guru's blessing. We should count it, not just is there in the altar, I'm doing my life. No, you have to remember constantly. Krishna. So whatever you do, make sure. You okay?
Make sure.
So whatever our life is, condition is, if we can somehow or other keep this our journey with Krishna, Guru and holy name, then you will see it's like a with the cushion and one more thing, caution. Caution means there is a big bump, just slow down. No need to go in the same speed, high speed. Just slow down. You say, I don't care, I just want to reach it. Well, this bump can actually hurt you more than you ever experienced like that? You get a high speed, like a bumpy, like, oh, it's like, oh, it's not worth, be careful. So you have to have a caution and cushion. So you have to have a good sadhana every day. Also, you have a caution means, like you ever wonder in the car, if you want to go to Miami, you have a good tire, good gas, tank is full, you have accelerator works, speed. But why you have brake? Brake does not take you to Miami. Why there is a brake in the car? Somebody may think, what is the purpose of the brake? I'm going to Miami, I need accelerator to go quick. Because in case you take a wrong turn or there's a big bump, you need to slow down. You cannot go with the accelerator. There is a reason for it. Similarly, when something happens in our life, we should assess immediately. Why this is like this? Maybe let me take shelter on the Bhagavad Gita. Let's open it and see it. Or talk to some senior devotee. Why life is like this? This problem. There will be always problem. On the road, on your life. So same principle, just like the brakes. Brakes is not for going to Miami, but brakes is necessary. In case if you make a wrong turn. Like somebody came to tell you about all nonsense, offensive criticism of some devotee. You have to put a brake. Well, if you don't mind, will this benefit me spiritually? Or you just want to dump your whatever trash you have against someone, some devotee, and you want to say it. You have to be very honest and literally you have to put a brake. Maybe it's not healthy for me because I cannot tolerate sometimes. It will disturb my chanting. It will disturb my whole day. It's better if you don't mind, just talk to some senior devotee. I'm not senior, I'm just junior. I'm scared. I don't want to hear the criticism. Just you have to have each person has a different boundary. You follow? If you have a boundary wall, it's healthy neighborhood. Then you will not have a problem. So we have to have a fence, good boundary in our day-to-day life. This is what Krishna tells in that verse. It's wonderful. So when we channel our nature accordingly, we can make constructive contribution externally, release deep satisfaction internally. So let's read the next verse. 35. Together, we can do. Krishna, where are you? There. Shreyansa dharma vigona paradharmat sa anustitat sadharme nidhanam shreya paradharma bhayavaha. Somebody, please. Bill.
It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though they may be faulty, than another's duties. Disruption in the course of a performance Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties. For to follow another's path is dangerous. One should therefore discharge his prescribed duties in full Krishna consciousness, rather than those prescribed for others. Prescribed duties complement one's psychophysical condition.
This word you have to remember, because we all have this. In life, you'll use that psychophysical nature. We are born with it. You can never, well, I cannot say never, but you can never get out of it. You feel compelled to act on it, what you are born with it. Good. Go ahead, please.
Psychophysical condition under the spell of the modes of material nature. Spiritual duties are as ordered by the spiritual master for the transcendental service of Krishna, but both materially and spiritually one should stick to his prescribed duties even up to death, rather than imitate another's prescribed duties. Duties on the spiritual platform and duties on the material platform may be different, but the principle of following the authorized direction is always good for the performer. When one is under the spell of the modes of material nature, one should follow the prescribed rules for particular situations and should not imitate others. For example, a Brahma who is in the mode of goodness is non-violent, whereas Kristeya, who is in the mode of passion, is allowed to be violent. As such, then to imitate a Brahmin who follows the principles of non-violence, everyone has to cleanse his heart by a gradual process, not abruptly. However, when one transcends the modes of material nature and is fully situated in Krishna consciousness, he can perform anything and everything under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. In that complete stage of Krishna consciousness, what she said, may act as a
You can say it, Bill, say it. Kshatriya.
The Kshatriya
There you go.
may act as a Brahmin, or a Brahmin may act as a Kshatriya in the transcendental stage. The distractions of the material world do not apply. For example, Visa Mitra was originally a
Kshatriya.
Kshatriya, but later on he acted as a Brahmin, whereas transcendentally situated, they could do so. But as long as one is on the material platform, he must perform his duties according to the modes of material nature. At the same time, he must have a full sense of Krishna consciousness.
Very good. Recently, last year, when the COVID-19 was so much infected all over the world, and we saw amongst us, some people are like, I don't need to be careful or anything, and just leave me alone. I'll just do whatever. If you don't want me to come to temple without mask, I will not come. Some or other, this idea is they didn't like the mask. Some people, okay, I'll put on mask. It's like some going through, amongst the people here in Alacha. So some people resist any system of categorization of human personalities. Do you notice? Yes, they do. They feel they'll box me in. But while that concern is understandable, it is based on a misconception. That misconception is that we can stay out of boxes if we just don't have a system of categorization and identification. it's a keen of to saying that if we don't identify the COVID-19 that we are infected by, we won't be infected at all. Is it true? No. We all have a as you read, psychophysical nature with which we are born. Arjuna born to be fighter. Some people born to make money. It's a true example that I was there in one little group of devotee meeting. And so one devotee says, we need a big hall room to have a nice harikatha. So after a little while, anybody has a question. So one devotee says, how much is going to cost? Now the subject matter is about harikatha, but he's concerned about the hall, how much is going to cost. Why? Because he is born with a Vaishya mentality. He's thinking like that. There's nothing wrong or right. It's just each of us are born with a particular inclination. Try to recognize that. Some people in that group, he said, why not we start harikatha now? Because he has that Brahmanical nature. He said, whether there is a hall or no hall, just do the harikatha. He is concerned about harikatha. Then another devotee, he's very nice. They are all wonderful. I won't say the name. He said, well, how is going to be managing? Like a big hall room, like we need like a lot of chairs. He's thinking about the whole organization, administration. That's how his mentality. He's born as a Kshatriya. He's born as and there's a labor class. Each person, even in this room, each of us has a different mentality, psychophysical nature that we are born with. You follow? You can never change. Now, Prabhupada said something interesting in the purport. As a Vishwamitra, he's born as a Kshatriya and he acted as a Brahmana. And Parashuram, born as a Brahmana, acted as a Kshatriya. Opposite. Now, but Prabhupada, that's not the point. Point is the key point Prabhupada said, they were transcendental. In other words, you cannot change unless you transcend these three modes and you come to pure goodness. You can be amongst us, looks like us, but you are actually transcendentally situated. The modes does not affect. At that time, this inborn psycho-physical nature, you can change. Even you are inclined to make money, you lost that taste. You just do spiritual full-time studying scriptures. You never had that before, but you change. Why? Because you are in that platform now. But average 100% everybody, they will be bound to act what they are born. Am I making clear? Everybody understand that point? Everybody, each of us has a psychophysical nature, which is born as a result of previous life. You cannot escape from it. So Shastra Krishna says, adapt it. Whatever you are born with it, use it. Don't try to go somebody's. Well, you know, Brahmana is better. They study scripture and they do arati. I want to do that, but I'm thinking of making money. Well, in the altar, you cannot make money. And if you artificially do that you want to force yourself doing that, you'll be seeing some visitor has come and you'll be thinking, what do you do? Oh, I have a factory. Oh, like you make money? Like I can do something like that. And then that man will be thinking, he's a pujari. He's thinking of like, he wants to be like me or something. It's like it's disrupt your consciousness. You follow? You don't feel satisfied. So when you recognize your psycho-physical nature, act on that. Use that for Krishna's service. That is Krishna's opinion. Unless you become full surrender or transcend the three modes, then you can switch. Everybody understand? Maybe you may say like, well, very difficult to know what is my nature. No, you know what is your nature. If you see a beautiful handsome person, a girl is attracted. Nobody has to tell that girl to be attracted. It's like a natural. If you see a beautiful girl, you're a young man, you feel attracted. It's like a natural. Nobody has to tell. I used to remember when I see the old houses, even though I had a diamond jewelry business, I used to see the old houses. I'm always thinking like I can remodel and make money. And I can calculate like whole thing in it just by glance. And I made money on that by Krishna's grace, because that's how I always was like this. Now I lost the taste of it because I feel find no value, so wasting my time. But there is a time that we should pursue whatever we are born with. Arjuna born with Kshatriya nature. Even if he goes, he said he will go to the forest and Krishna is showing him the other side. Even if you go to forest, you will start fighting there with the animal or something. Only difference is either you fight for me or you fight for my Maya. That's the only choice we have. Everybody understand? Whatever nature we are born with, we can use it for Krishna or we'll use it for Krishna's Maya. When you use for Krishna's Maya, Krishna is not in charge of that. You are responsible for that. When you use that propensity for Krishna's pleasure, then Krishna will take care of everything. So Bhagavad Gita here states that we are more or less forced to act according to our nature. Even if we are filled with knowledge, say you learn Sanskrit sloka or Bhagavad Gita, so many, last is like so empowering, and you understand, you're learning all this, but you don't know how to apply it because your consciousness, your impression does not allow you. You still want to look at nice movie or something, enjoyment. Be honest and recognize there's nothing wrong. Krishna did not say anything wrong that if somebody born with particular nature, but you have to recognize. So Krishna says here, very nice. If we neglect our nature, say somebody wants to neglect because he learned philosophy or he heard from a Maharaj that this material world is horrible, just get out. How do I get out, Maharaj? Just take Brahman initiation and act like a Brahmana. Okay. But I'm thinking of making money and get married to this girl, and now I act like a preacher, go out and preach. He's going out, preacher, and some girl walk by, he's looking. Why? Because his nature is born with, and the artificially someone other is trying. It's okay, but he should be aware that he's never going to get out of it, what you are born. And immature practice eventually make you fall down or come back. So Krishna says that if we neglect our nature, we are still forced to act according to that nature. Even if we imagine we will be better off acting in some other way. When we introspect means examine your own feeling, your own inclination, your own nature. We get a sense of our inner world. It is like getting a map to navigate our inner journey, to go toward self-understanding. Now, without the map, the inner territory remains the same. And we end up hurting ourselves because of lack of that map. Can you relate that? Have you ever driven to an unknown place? You say, I don't care, GPS or whatever. I'll just drive, we'll go there. Well, eventually, maybe it will take 1 month instead of 1 day. I mean, eventually you will, but you still have to ask somebody where it is. So map is a big help. Map does not make the territory the way it is. It just makes aware of the territory. Make sense? GPS only gives you like, okay, there's a 50 miles, or it gives you some idea where you are and how far you are. GPS does not take you there immediately. You still have to drive. So if someone forces a particular categorization upon us, categorization that is not in harmony with our nature, that would definitely be alienated and disempowering. But self-knowledge can be empowering when it is reveals the reality, enable us to best harmonize with that reality. What did you get it from this discussion I'm taking? That you are born with a particular, Prabhupada call it psychophysical, means it's coming from previous life, what you wanted, you don't remember, but it is coming as a reaction. Is it anything wrong of that feeling? No. So what Krishna is suggesting? Very good. Whether it's a Sudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahman, doesn't matter. All are equal in Krishna consciousness. But in social custom, they are not equal. Sudra is Sudra, labor class. Brahman is Brahman. But in Krishna consciousness, because that bhakti is transcendental platform, there is no high and low. Everybody has an equal right to serve. Yes, mother.
So this, it makes it kind of sound dismal for the way it's designed for us to, take birth. Your boys maybe like brahmachari for a certain amount of time, and then householder, vanaprastha, sannyasi. So if you're born with the psychophysical nature of, pretty much householder, or, you like, family life, have this attachment, then sannyasi just, or, those renunciation just sound like you'll be in hell in your mind.
If, okay, this is a very nice question. Thank you for being thoughtful question. That psychophysical nature is something we really wanted in previous life, or we develop a desire. We never got fulfilled, but in this life, it is going to activate and we are going to experience. So Krishna's suggestion is you act on it. Now you are bringing another point here. In Hare Krishna society, we have an ashram. What psychophysical nature is? Not ashram. It is varna. Varna ashram, there is two things. So you are born with a particular nature, that's your varna. Everybody understood varna. But you are not born with ashram. Ashram means under shelter of. Without guru, there is no ashram. The word ashram, where you're training without teacher, there is no ashram. Oh, I am a grihastha. Who is your in charge? Under whose? Nobody. I'm just on my own. This is not an ashram. You are on your own is not an ashram. Ashram means there has to be guru and teacher. So in the ashram, the training is given for transcending the three modes. But if the psycho-physical nature, varna, is predominating so much, then that person should be guided to go and take care. If that person is fortunate and can transcend the three modes under pure guru, or also willingness to get out of three modes, then he can change. And that's why the example he read, Vishwamitra and Parashuram. They could change because they are transcendental. But ordinary people are not Vishwamitra and Parashuram. When I am an ordinary person, join in the movement, I have no idea to act like Vishwamitra. They are very powerful. They are not ordinary. Can you imagine to meditate 60,000 years? Do you know 60,000 years sitting down and meditating? It's not an ordinary person. They're very powerful. Of course, in Kali Yuga, that 60,000 years is equal 60. No, not that easy. I mean, you can say 60 months or something like that, 5 years or something, but be strict. Yes, you can transcend. You can transcend. So if we are not transcended, then we should act with our psychophysical nature. It makes sense now? Okay. But if they did not purify, just because they took sannyas doesn't mean anything. They will fall down, or they will have some kind of scandal. You hear sometime or something. It's sad because the the word transcendental, the word spiritual, the word devotion, they're not all same thing. Devotion means it's related to please Krishna. Spiritual, I could be thinking of Paramatma or Brahman. You follow? They are also spiritual, but they are not devotional. They are different. Transcendental means you literally transcending three modes, and there is a symptom. And I made a big chart. We have a list. Like when we come to that chapter, we'll research this. 14 chapter, 18 chapter, 17 chapter, three modes. 3 chapters in Bhagavad Gita is all about 3 modes. Yes, Prabhu.
My question is about the 3 modes you're referring to. What are those 3 modes?
3 modes is, today Mother Tejaswini house has a program. I don't feel like going. I just want to rest. That's called inertia. No inspiration to hear about Krishna. It's okay. I went last week. I don't feel like going. That's called inertia, called ignorance. I'm giving you explanation like practical. I was like, yeah, there was a nice class yesterday or the last week. I'm going to go. So that's better than the inertia. Inertia means keeps you down. Rajagun prompted. Now, when you apply this to your life, you can actually transcend from Rajagun. When you control Rajagun, passion, when you control discipline, it goes to assertiveness, Sattvagun. You don't control, fall back to Tamagun. You feel like, okay, I'm going to go to the program. She makes a nice prasadam. He makes a nice prasadam. There is a nice harikatha relevant to my life. I want to hear that. Okay, that's nice. Rajagun, you controlling, you will be in Sattvagun, assertive. So inertia, aggressive, assertive. Prabhupada translated as ignorance, passion, and goodness. Same thing. And when we come to those chapters, we'll make a chart on this screen.
So, Tamasic, Rasic, Sattvic.
Yes. Yes. Sattvic is favorable to us. Tamasic is not favorable. Rajasic is not favorable. Sattvic is favorable. Sattvic because goodness is next to pure goodness. You can almost go there. Yes, mother.
So in social work, we use something called the biopsychosocial assessment. And this is when we give therapy to somebody, we look at their biology, we look at their psychology, and we also look at their social, like their association, and we look at their spiritual component as well. And like I'm thinking about this verse and kind of the similarities, because in social work we do something called a strength-based perspective, which seems like Krishna invented it, because Krishna is saying you have your nature, but just use it for service. So our nature still has some strength or some utility that we can apply in our Krishna consciousness. It's not necessarily that we, like you said, we have to get rid of it, because otherwise we're gonna end up dissatisfied, because it's almost like I'm ignoring something that's very prominent in who I incarnated into with all the past life impressions I have. So is that?
I was wondering, yeah, this is good. This is very good. But I was wondering, I was told by Sandra Ray, she used to have a PhD student in UF here. She was practicing, and then I gave her also chanting japa, and we used to have a lot of talk. She was a nice, I don't know if she's still there. I think she retired. But she said the idea of God or reincarnation are not introduced in their course. That's why it's so difficult. He said Krishna consciousness makes sense. Because when he says psychophysical, where is coming from if you don't accept reincarnation? If you are born from something chemical or whatever, no source, then how do you explain this? You understand my point?
Yeah.
Like for an example, somebody is born to love eating sweet. Now he loves eating sweet, but doctor just diagnosed that, I'm sorry, you have a diabetes. You know what? I don't care. This doctor, I'm not going to go anymore, doctor. As soon as I go to doctor, they find some fault in me. Okay, Baba, Hare Baba, just slow down. No, I'm not going to go to doctor anymore. Just, I'll lead my life. And in the temple, they made a gulab jamun. They say, you want this? Take the whole thing. Really? Wow. And come to home and eating. My luckiest day. These doctors are all baloney, whatever you say all this. And then what happened? After a few days or next few days, you're sick like a hell. Because you have a diabetes, but he didn't care for that. And you cannot control your sweet, and you just ate. Now what happened? You suffered. So we say if the truth makes us flee, it cannot make us free. Why in Krishna consciousness we have a discipline? Get up in the morning, chant, don't eat without offering. Eat only what is offerable, offered to God. Why we have all this? Because it gives us freedom. We may not see it now. If you say, okay, I have a diabetes, but there is a gulab jamun, but I'm not going to eat it. Well, it's a little painful, yes, but it won't make me suffer for 3 days. Which is better? What do you think, Bill? Which is better?
Not suffering for 3 days.
Thank you. That's called intelligent. But gulab jamun is very attractive. You know, it's talking to me. Come, get me.
Take all the way to the very end.
Yeah. So that's why actually we should always remember that accepting the truth about our weakness that seems initially like poison. I cannot eat gulab jamun because I will be suffering. You don't feel good because you are addicted to sweet. But if we withdraw and control, resist voluntarily, consciously, not by force, eventually turn out to be like nectar at the end. Next 3 days, no worry. No disease, no sickness. It makes sense? This is what this verse all about. Okay, it's already 7:34. Wow, didn't finish the whole thing, but the next week we'll finish this chapter. Maybe we can do one more sloka, just at least 36. Is that okay? Just do one more sloka and then we'll stop. Okay, let's do 36 together. This is a very famous verse. This is like you have to remember. This is Arjuna is asking on behalf of us because he is going through like this. Together. Arjuna uvacha athakena prajuktayam papa charati pursaha anichanapi varsneya baladiva niyojita. Ildar, Prabhu.
Arjuna said, all this temple of vision, what is one compelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force. And even entity as part and partial of the Supreme is originally spiritual, pure, and free from all material contaminations. Therefore, by nature, he is not subject to the sins of the material world. But when he is in contact with the material nature, he acts in many sinful ways without his hesitation, and sometimes even against his will. As such, Arjuna's question to Krishna is very sanguine. as to the perverted nature of the living entities. Although the living entity sometimes does not want to act in sin, he is still forced to act. Sinful actions are not, however, impelled by super soul within, but are due to another cause, as the Lord explains in the next verse.
So this verse is so important. This is Arjuna was going through, and he's expressing that when we learn to see the addicted as tormented, not as a demented or degraded, we can empathetically equip them to protect and elevate their consciousness. This verse is very important. We're going to discuss next week because we ran out of time. But we should always remember this verse, because a lot of time we wonder about our own life. We put a question here, how to gain freedom from compulsive addiction for self-destruction. That was the question we created. I think we'll discuss that very nicely next week. And then we'll go to the next one. The next verse is like the key verse, one of the key verse in the whole creation, where the origin of lust and the origin of love and how it transformed and trapped us. And there's a 5 arrow, we get shot. And what are those 5 arrows? And how can we redirect our consciousness and come out of all things? So we'll discuss that and we'll complete that. So we'll chant a few more minutes together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. You can close. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.